Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, kid.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host Mary Jones.
And Dennis Ling.
And we are finishing out Dennis vs. the Movies month with a movie that, you know, you say you may have seen this, but you've never seen this.
How do you know?
Do you remember anything about the movie, The Adventures of Raggedy Ann and Andy?
I remember there was a love triangle. I think there were some dogs. Someone died. And there was an angry dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we're just getting it all out of the way right away?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Beyond that, I forget everything.
yeah. Why do you think you've seen this?
I feel like I remember when it came out, and I just saw it then.
So this came out in like 78 maybe?
Yeah.
77, 78.
I was alive.
You I wasn't.
Yeah.
But you don't remember anything about this movie.
No.
No, I suggested it to you and you said, "Oh no, I've seen that." And then I said, "What was it about?" And you said, "Yeah, I don't know."
I just told you. There was a love triangle.
No,
there were dogs.
No.
Someone dies.
Somebody's gonna die.
An angry dad shows up.
Could be a very angry dad showing up right now.
Bad Raggedy's.
Oh no! Oh,
I remember. So I feel like it came around the same time as the Berenstain Bears. Berenstain, whatever.
wait a minute. What?
There was a Berenstain Bears. I feel like there's a couple specials.
There were TV specials, but
Yeah.
not like movies.
Oh, this was a movie?
Yes.
Oh, you know
That-
what? Maybe I haven't seen it.
Right.
I don't know.
Thank you.
What movie did I see?
Right. I don't know what you saw.
Huh.
Did you see like the Chuck Jones animated Christmas special or something that had them like stuck in glue?
I don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea what you saw. You know
Is that the one that had the love triangle? and
no.
the dogs?
Well, there was a dog. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No.
No. Okay.
Is this animated?
Is this animated?
There could be puppets. There could be
No, it is.
people with
God.
makeup.
So you have not seen this.
I grew up with Doug Henning.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying it would not
What does
surprise
that
me if
mean?
there was a movie of people like just with makeup on and pretending to be Raggedy Ann and Andy.
What was Doug Henning's act? That's what you associate with him. I thought he was a magician.
Yeah, but you know, he was out there.
Yeah, him. Yeah, he's the one who's out there.
He was.
Do you know anything that we're about to see? Like, genuinely, do you have any idea what we're about to watch?
So I know what they look like.
Congratulations. You know what a Raggedy Ann doll looks like.
And a Raggedy Andy. I had a Raggedy
Yeah.
Andy. I had two of them.
Why do you have two Raggedy Andy dolls?
So I don't have two of them now. I don't know what happened to the replacement. But I had one, and I had a stable of stuffed friends.
Sure. Look, as a lot of children do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
I remember Rabbit. Rabbit was my favorite.
Rabbit? Was he a Velveteen Rabbit?
No, he was like brown and fluffy type of thing.
Okay, do you know what the Velveteen Rabbit
Yeah,
is?
I do.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm adopted. Yeah, that's our thing.
Oh, damn. Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
I know what the Velveteen Rabbit is.
Jesus.
So I had a giant lion. He was like the size of me.
Okay.
In that he was like a foot tall at the time. But he was huge.
My sister had a stuffed Saint Bernard, kind of like that.
I had all these other like character actors like Steve Buscemi and stuff.
Wait a minute.
But like,
Hold on. Wait a minute. You're not claiming you had a stuffed Steve Buscemi. What are you talking about?
no, of course not. That's ridiculous.
He wasn't even. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so like, even though the rabbit was my favorite, like for some reason I always had the Raggedy Andy. Maybe he was like, he's I don't know, but for some reason I was always like pawing him.
Mm-hmm.
and
Pawing him?
apparently because, and you know this,
Yes, I do.
he became ungrabbable eventually.
That's a
and,
good way to put it.
and my mom snuck in at night and switched him with a brand new one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I guess he grew back. I don't know. So
Because we've seen the original.
we've seen the original. This is how we've seen the original. So years pass by.
Yes.
Uh,
Many years.
You and I get married, and we go to my mom's for like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I've got something for you," and she brings out pretty much the baby from Eraserhead. This disgusting thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a head, an arm, threads, and a foot.
That's pretty much all
And
it
she's
was.
like, "Here you are.
Here's
You
your
get
Raggedy.
it back."
Yeah. Please take this Raggedy Andy doll from my house. It's cursed. And, and we did.
It's terrifying.
It is. It really is.
It's like black.
Yeah.
Like just ugh.
So it's so funny because, I had a Raggedy Ann doll, of course. I still have her. And I wore the legs out on her in that, they had tears and stuff, like you could see where like the legs were kind of starting to fall apart a little bit.
Raggedy, if you will.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then I remember this one Christmas morning, I woke up and her legs were like new. And I was
Wow.
like, wow, Santa, you work fast. So of course, obviously what happened was my mother.
It's like George Bailey pasting the petals back on that flower.
It is very much the same sort of situation. So of course I didn't realize, because I was 5 or 6, whatever, that my mother had just made new legs, took the doll out of my arms like the Grinch, and sewed new legs on.
I take it to my workshop.
But she did. The workshop being our basement.
Yeah.
But she did. That's exactly what she did. So she, because the rest of the doll was fine. It was just like kind of the lower legs that were starting to tear, because I would drag this doll everywhere. Like Raggedy Ann was my best friend when I was very small. I loved.
Raggedy Andy was not my best friend. He's my second best friend. Rabbit was first.
I understand.
Lion third.
Okay.
Steve Buscemi fourth.
I have questions about Steve Buscemi. Also, can I meet him? He's one of my favorite actors. But okay, so my mother, kind of kept the whole fantasy alive for me for at least another year by having like magical legs appear. Your mom didn't do that. She's just like, here's a new doll. The old doll is gross, but she kept the old doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, to terrorize us with.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not a thing anymore at all. But in the 20th century, because we're old, in the 20th century, Raggedy dolls were a thing. They started, I guess, maybe even like before this First World War, where this guy Johnny Gruelle wrote these books about Raggedy Ann and then her brother Raggedy Andy, and it was like just short stories about dolls, and it's all very of its time period. And yeah, I mean, some of it's kind of like, oh wow, they put a gollywog in there. Oh my god, oh no, they put a gollywog in there. It's one of those things where it's like you look at the old books now and you're kind of like, oh, that shouldn't be in there. Do you know what a gollywog is?
No.
You don't. Oh, let's just say it's racist.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just yeah. It was very popular at the time.
Is this around? So when is the Pinocchio books? Is that like 1890s, 1880s?
Yeah, that's a little earlier. That's a little earlier.
Because those books are crazy.
See, now I never read any of the Pinocchio books.
I read a little bit of them, and it's like, yikes.
Yeah, they're more all over the place.
Yeah.
The Raggedy Ann and Andy stories are a little bit more contained, maybe, but yeah, I mean, they're still like have kind of like it's dolls like doing stuff, right?
What's interesting to me about stories from like pretty much pre-50s is that kids' stories were not like oh, kids are angels, like kids, like dolls are fine and all that. It's like, oh, kids are monsters.
Yeah, it's true.
And they should probably be beaten and then like locked in a room for years.
And all of the stories are about how like the protagonist is actually bad, and here's how they got punished.
Yeah.
My stepdad, who was like my second dad. I mean, I call him my stepdad just for legal reasons.
He's a
but
great guy.
I miss him so much. But
Yeah, me too.
He was much older than my mother, and he had kids' books that I guess may have not even been his, but his father's. So you're going back into like the 1890s at that point, and they're German. It's like Germany in the 1890s, and so all of the stories, it's about like these kids, Max and Morris, and it's all about how like terrible things happen to them because they're like pranksters, and like so like they're like pulling pranks, and then like their thumbs get pulled off or some terrible thing, like it's all about like punishing children. Yeah. So and I've looked at those books, and like they're kind of horrifying. You would never give that to a kid today. And so, yeah, you come along a little bit later in the American books, like, they're still weird. Like, if you read those Oz books, they're weird, right? Like, weird things happen to them. And I don't remember if the Raggedy Ann and Andy stories are weird necessarily, but what I remember is this movie is weird. And it kind of plays off of the weirdness of that sort of pre-1960s world of kids' literature. I think you're right by drawing like a demarcation line of like up through the end of the Second World War and a little bit after. And then once America kind of has, a middle class that has television.
Yeah, and then Dr. Spock comes along.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like everything before that is like weird and horrifying and moralistic in a strange way. And everything is very strange and surreal, right?
Because the kids aren't writing the books. It's just these parents staring at these terrible kids.
Yeah, I mean, we're right back to Eraserhead, where it's just like, what do I do with this weird worm that now lives with me and won't stop crying?
We keep going back to Eraserhead.
I think there's a reason for that. I don't have children, obviously, because of the way I talk about the situation. I don't know what it's like to have children. In fact, I'm terrified of children. I find them very scary.
Weird worm.
Yeah, well, they are. I don't know. Like I'm not entirely sold on like adult humans, to be honest. So it's
Yeah, we went high on them, and they let us down.
Boy, yes. Do you have any predictions to make about this film before I go watch it?
I think they won't have parents. I'm guessing
they're dolls. No.
Yeah. Well, they're brother and sister, though. There's a story, I guess. I don't think the antagonist will get killed.
Okay.
Because this is a different movie than I'd seen. So
you didn't see a movie. You may have seen something on television once, and you don't even remember what that is.
There was a love triangle. There were dogs.
No.
Someone died.
No.
And there was an angry dad. This is one that movie. I'm guessing there isn't a treehouse, although I might be just combining like Berenstain Bears with them.
Treehouse? Where are you getting a treehouse? What do you think this is? Pippi Longstocking? What are you talking about?
Do they live in a town?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh. I think they go in a forest.
Okay.
All right. I think there's a forest involved.
Sure.
And I think I'll stop there. I don't think I can think of anything else. I'll just make stuff up that won't. I don't know. A snake.
Enough.
There's a snake.
There's a snake. All right. In lieu of seeing a snake or not, shall we go watch this movie?
Yeah.
But who are you? I'm just a rag dolly, happy and smiling all day, a little rag dolly, wishing your worries away. I stop and say, golly, this is
Okay.
too good to be true.
So there was a death.
Where?
The king explodes. He's dead.
Actually,
That dude's dead.
you know what? You might have a point, actually.
All right, he's dead.
He's dead.
There was no snake. I thought there was a snake, but it was a worm in a shoe.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he is kind of a worm.
So there's no snake.
True.
There was no love triangle. There was no angry father. Well, I guess the king could be sort of a little bit.
However you want to interpret
half
that.
and
yeah.
half.
Yeah.
There was no. Okay, so love triangle. There's no dog.
No.
But there was a death.
There is a death of
Yeah.
all.
Oh, and there was a forest.
There was a forest. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
There's a song in the forest. I just felt like there was a forest. I don't know.
Into the woods, baby.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
It's weird. I think it defeats me still. I think I'm 0-8 now. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I actually thought this would be the one.
I did too, But it's weird enough that I'm like, it's okay.
It's so
it's really weird.
it's so eccentric that
Yeah.
it kind of wins you over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely win you over.
It starts off a little sappy
Mm-hmm.
or something, but it gets so weird that you're like, yeah, I'm just
What?
gonna go with it.
Once you get to the greedy,
Yeah, the
it's
greedy.
like, what is going on?
Sheesh.
Because you're right, like the first half of this film, maybe not even half, like third or whatever. It's not a long film, so like the first half hour or so, it's establishing the world that the dolls live in, which is
Yeah.
New Jersey, and I mean it is literally it's a town in North Jersey. It's like not that far from like where they filmed The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which feels right.
It's called what? Boontown?
Boonton, yeah,
Boonton. Okay.
yeah, Boonton. I guess New Jersey. It's like outside Newark. It's like
I think
that
it was
whole.
named after a governor or something.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I quick skimmed the Wikipedia.
Wait a minute. Are you serious? You looked up the Wikipedia for the town this was filmed
I
in?
did. I kind of just click on links when I'm looking up stuff.
Okay,
and-
but I'm just saying, like, this is not exactly the most important part of the film is the fact that it was just a town in New Jersey.
well, we know Jersey.
I know,
Maybe
but
there's a good pizza place nearby.
there probably is actually. One thing I like is, the books were written, like 1915 or whatever. This is entirely set in the 20th century, like the late 20th century.
Yeah.
The movie came out in 1977.
This house is the most 70s house
Oh my god.
I've seen.
The opening of this
Ever.
is so 70s. The girl is wearing like a crocheted Afghan sweater.
I know.
Like this thing was part of a blanket that sat on a couch.
Yeah.
This movie is so 1970s. And what
This whole movie was macrameed.
yes. Yeah. But I mean I think that's something that appeals to me. Not just because, like when I was a small child is not that much longer beyond when this was made, but this is so different from the movies that would come along in the 80s in a way. Like actually I think there is some sort of residual like hangover, but like there's nothing about this that looks like the 80s, right?
Right.
This is so homespun in the way that it looks. Like the whole idea of having a Raggedy Ann doll, that's so 1970s, post 1960s, pop, mid-century modern. We're now into, granola and macrame and avocado fridges. We're eating homemade yogurt. We have rag dolls and we learn yoga.
Instead of turning the heat on, we're wearing sweaters.
Yes. No. This
It's
is,
very Jimmy Carter.
oh,
America.
that's exactly what this is. Yeah. This is so different from like the 1980s. Insofar as like the culture that you're seeing on screen now. Obviously, as a child growing up in the 1980s of, at the time, working class parents, this is so much closer to like what I was actually living through. And like, of course, we all wore hand-me-downs and we put a sweater on and all the rest of it. Like,
And that's the thing. Like people like they vision the 80s like the what's that Milan
Memphis Milano.
Memphis Milano
Yeah.
style and all that stuff. But
Night of the Comet.
almost everyone in the 80s, it looked like the 70s in their house.
Well, yeah.
Because, it just kind of hung around for a while.
Like, we weren't all like rich and like, snorting cocaine off of hookers' tits.
No,
No.
we weren't. No. Not everybody.
No, I'm just saying, look, we have this idea of the 80s in our head of,
Imagine all the kids listening to this particular podcast.
okay,
Oh, Raggedy Ann and Andy. What?
show me the child that listens to this podcast, and I will help pay for their therapy bills. They should not be listening to us. We have this image of the 1980s as,
To quote another podcast, I'm loving the new freedom.
yeah. That's the most you're gonna get. Look.
We've already had
It's a very
a president swinging penis.
no. That was in Hollywood Avalon.
Oh, sorry. That was, you paid for that.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to hear me talk about Abraham Lincoln's member, subscribe to our Patreon. We're obviously recording this after a very long week.
Yeah.
So,
We're just trying to make the king bigger.
oh, yeah, that comes up. Again, it's a very weird movie.
Yeah.
So, the premise starts off a lot like Toy Story. Look, Toy Story is
Yeah.
great, but it's not like it came from nowhere.
And this I'm sure there's another thing that this is copying
Oh, yeah.
off of. Like the whole idea of
You know-
kids, toys getting up and walking around after you leave the
That's
room.
like half of the cartoons from the 1930s.
Yeah.
That's like such a common premise. Human beings are animists, whether they want to admit it or not,
Not
right?
me, but yeah, others.
Do you know what an animist is?
Yeah.
Okay. What's an animist?
It's like you humanized things.
It is a tendency of human beings to humanize, to anthropomorphize anything.
I don't
Especially if
do
you
that.
put a
It just
face
so
on it.
happens
You put-
that cars
you put
look like
eyes-
faces.
Every time we're driving, you're like, oh, that looks like a whatever.
That's a doctor.
Like, how? Why? Look, I get it when you see a truck and you've got like the cones out front. You're like, oh, it's a vampire truck.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Vampire.
But every time we're driving down the street, you're like, oh, that car looks like a person. And I'm just like, no, it's a car.
I don't say a person. I say what specific kind of person it looks like.
That's true.
Yeah, it's personality.
Anyway, this is normal human behavior. Like,
Yeah.
if you put a face on something, we're going to think it's alive. And so the idea that the toys come to life when we're not watching is a very common idea, right?
Still, a worm that's a shoe.
Again, you put a face on it, it's going to come alive.
All right.
The other thing
That's
looks
a
like
weird
half a
one, though.
beanbag. Like, I don't even think that thing's got a name. But it had a face, and it came alive.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, so obviously all of Marcella's toys come alive when she's not in the room, and they walk around and they talk to each other. And, you've got, like, the little tailor who is, like a human with, like, 8 arms and lives on a wheel.
That is Maxie Fix-It.
His wife is Susie Pincushion or something.
But
And-
Maxie Fix-It reminds me of Kamaji the Boiler Man in Spirited Away.
Oh, okay, sure.
I don't know if, direct, but it just the whole, like, multiple arms to, like,
I don't know that there was a direct influence. Marcella's toys come alive when she's not there, and so we're introduced to Raggedy Ann and her brother Raggedy Andy. And, of course, Raggedy Ann is very sweet, but, like, I don't know, she's not, like, cloyingly sweet. Like, it's not terrible.
I thought she's Kristen Shaw.
Yeah, if you're making that now, that would be a good voice for her.
Yeah.
And so she's got her brother Raggedy Andy, and at one, he's much more rough and tumble because,
And
boy-coded.
I when he first started talking, I was like, that's Michael J. Fox.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
But it had a very Marty McFly, like, I'm a tough and rumble boy.
But yeah, you brought up what Fix It Maxie Fix It.
Maxie Fix-It.
And his wife is like the pincushion. You've got the worm guy who lives in a shoe, and the beanbag, and the weird Harlequin doll, and then you have the terrifying twins. Oh, Dennis, do you want to talk about these twins?
For some reason, they decided to make toys out of the twins from The Shining.
I mean, that's basically what it's like. Yeah.
Like, they have, like, darkened bodies, like
They don't have any clothes on.
They don't have any clothes on. The first time you see them, it looks like dark wood or something.
Yeah.
And then these heads.
But the heads
And-
are white.
Yeah, and they had the same expression and stuff. It looks kind of like a Cuphead animation. We are going to eat your face,
Wait a minute. You get eating your face from Cuphead?
Yeah, for most of the things. Most of them are all attacking you.
Well,
Like
okay,
the
fair
carrot
enough.
and
Yeah, that's true. They're all
onion.
villains.
Yeah.
All right, but no. So you do have this like little Greek chorus of these twin dolls who, again, they don't wear clothes. They just have these wooden bodies
And
and
they
these
dance.
big heads, and they dance and they sing things. There is a moment where they're just like, "What's in the box? What's in the box? Tell us what's in the box." And like they're singing in a chorus, and it's terrifying. And I don't know if this is where 7 comes from, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the two voices together, and it's in like this weird high pitched. Oh yeah, and it's always weird because like all the songs are this kind of like 70s, kind of
Like a little
soft,
Muppety.
a little Muppety. It's Joe Raposo,
Yeah.
so coming from Sesame Street, it's like that got that kind of feel. But then when they come on, it's like this kind of weird, jazzier.
Yeah.
I don't know, like they're so off-putting. They're so off-putting. Even as a kid, I was a little like, I don't trust those twins.
It's a weird, like, stage play jazz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was so glad when they leave the house.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God.
It's Marcella's 7th birthday, and she gets a new doll, and it's this pretty French doll, Babette. She's got like the frilly dress and the bonnet and all that type of stuff. She's what you think of like as a China doll, right? Babette is introduced, kind of like Buzz Lightyear. Hey, welcome to the...
Exactly, in that, like, she's like, oh, we're toys. And she's like, I'm not a toy, I'm a Parisian.
Yeah. Just like...
Get away from me, you riffraff.
So naturally what happens is there is a
horn dog pirate.
Yeah, a very horny pirate who lives in a snow globe who convinces Raggedy Ann to set him free because he's just like, no, I'm just trapped. SOS, help. I need to be like set free from my prison.
A crazy cuckoo clock sets her free.
Yeah, well, the cuckoo clock
yeah.
convinces Raggedy Ann, like, hey, let the guy out. And immediately he kidnaps Babette and sets off to the seas.
And suddenly gains a crew.
He had a ship inside of the snow globe, but all of a sudden now he has a crew, and somehow they go from what's inland in New Jersey to the high seas because it's a cartoon, and because why not? And so of course, because this was Marcella's birthday gift, Raggedy Ann is just like, well, we have to get her back.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, a guy kidnapped a woman, and yes, they're toys, but there's definitely the implication.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever spelled out, but yeah. Raggedy Ann and Andy.
We're already like 3 or 4 songs in by now.
Oh, there's
too.
a lot of songs in this. There's a lot of songs in this. I like the songs.
Yeah, we have like I'm Not a Girl's Toy.
Yeah.
Raggedy Andy.
Raggedy Andy, yeah. And like,
I flop around.
I'm just a rag dolly.
Yeah.
Again, it's Joe Raposo. They're very catchy songs, I think. But so Raggedy Ann and Andy, they leave the nursery and go off in search of Babette, and so they go off into the woods as you described, which again, it's suburban New Jersey. They just went to a park.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably didn't even get very far down the street. The first thing they encounter is, I guess, the camel with the wrinkly knees.
He trips him up, and then the camel suddenly, has a flashback.
Yeah. The whole thing with the camel with the wrinkly knees is so weird. So he's another toy. And you can tell just because, he has patches on parts of his skin. He looks like a toy. For some reason, he talks like Huckleberry Hound. Yeah. And he keeps talking about how, he is lonely and he doesn't have anybody in the world. And he keeps hallucinating these camels going in the sky who are calling him homeward, and it is legitimately weird to put into a kid's film. Oh, I want to die so I can be with my camel brethren who are calling me like it's his bizarre suicide wish from a toy.
If nobody loves me anymore, I just want to end it all.
That's exactly what's happening. Like, he just keeps hallucinating these camels are calling me home. And so they set off on their journey through, honestly, the backyard, and they end up in the taffy pit.
Yeah.
Where they encounter the greedy.
Because he's chasing the camels.
Because he's chasing the camels.
And they're like, what's going to happen? He's like, I don't care.
I know. He's running them off of a cliff. Because he's like, if I jump off the cliff, I'll get to join my camel friends in the sky. And they're like, wait a minute, we're going to die. and they don't die, but they end up in the taffy pit.
Yeah.
And the taffy pit is they go into a pit that is, I guess, the body of a monster.
This part reminded me of parts of Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair?
Dragon's Lair, the video game Don Bluth made.
Played it. I know what you're talking about, but I never played it, and so I have no idea. But you know what? That's interesting to say that Don Bluth worked on this. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe there's like a connection there.
Just the animation of like things popping up out of the gloop.
It is the gloopiest thing I've ever seen.
I will say, seeing all that gloop stuff and the camel, it definitely had a very Dr. Seuss look. Like the oobleck and all that stuff.
Oh! By the time we get to the land of the loonies, it is very Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, pretty much from now until we're back on the pirate ship, it's basically just a Dr. Seuss cartoon.
A very distressing Dr. Seuss cartoon. So the greedy is this giant orange taffy thing that just wants to eat things, and he's constantly devouring. And again, it's so gloopy, but what I love is how fluid the animation is. Yeah. It's just constantly moving, but in a way that it's not frenetic, right? It's not, distracting in that way. It's just kind of this weird, viscous, always moving, but I don't know, it's distressing as it should be. Yeah. But yeah, he's this taffy thing that's constantly eating candy and eating more candy, and the moment he hears that Raggedy Ann has a candy heart, he's just like, well, obviously I have to eat Raggedy Ann. Yeah,
because he says the only thing I need is a sweetheart, Otherwise, there's nothing.
And you would think that he's talking about love, but no, he is talking about just eating a candy heart.
Yeah.
You know, he tries to eat Raggedy Ann, and they are able to escape him while making him devour himself, which is, I don't know, Greek almost.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's all very like eyes are constantly moving in and out of the body, and like, you know, body parts are constantly like coming up and then being subsumed again. And I don't know, like I've seen animation like that since then, and I'm sure there was something that came before it. But this was the first time I encountered it when I was a small child. And so when I think of gloopy animation, this is sort of my platonic ideal. They are able to escape the greedy, like we said, and they encounter the loonies. So this is where Sir Looney shows up. He talks like Paul Lynde.
Yeah.
And he's purple and wears a tin can. And he is the first person they encounter in the land of the loonies, which, as you said, you know, is very Dr. Seuss. But they're ruled over by King Cuckoo, who is a very tiny little king who honestly sounds like Mel Brooks doing a German character.
When he first starts talking, I was like, are they just going to Hitler this guy the entire time? It's a little...
Well, I mean, not Hitler, but they do reference Napoleon.
Yep.
This guy is tiny, and he only gets big when he's laughing, right?
Yeah.
But he only really laughs when other people are being tortured.
Yeah.
There's something interesting about that. I don't know that they were thinking that hard about it when they wrote the script, but you know, the idea that this tyrant only laughs when he sees other people in like pain.
Yeah.
Now, and to be fair, this is a film for small children. The idea of pain here is they're tickling the dolls,
Throwing pies at them.
this is not that dark of a film. It's weird, but it's not dark. As he has like his night and all of the loonies torture the other dolls, you know, he keeps growing bigger and bigger. I think there's something psychologically significant about that. You know, the type of person who, you know, this is what makes them feel big is, you know, seeing other people being belittled or tortured or whatever, made uncomfortable. But they're able to escape.
Which he sort of alludes he let them escape so that he can get the best laugh of all, the last laugh, which is a great line.
Yeah, so they kind of escape in his craft that looks like something out of Yellow Submarine, actually.
Yeah, Yellow Submarine mixed with Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In fact, I feel like some of the sound effects at this point were just lifted from Willy Wonka.
Yeah, they just had him laying around. Just use that.
I completely believe that. Yeah, Willy Wonka is actually probably not a bad movie to connect to this because it has the same level of weird and looseness.
Innocence, but then sudden menace out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I didn't expect that to happen.
They catch up with the pirate ship in order to rescue Babette, but they find out that Babette has actually taken over the ship, and she is now the pirate queen.
Woke.
Yeah.
Suddenly went woke.
Yeah, it sure did. So, yeah, they're kind of like, do we really have to rescue Babette? I mean,
this was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, this is great. Oh, my God, there's an entire dance sequence.
She has a whip. She's like, that's her weapon, and she's
Dennis,
whipping at everyone.
Wearing a pirate outfit and whipping guys. And I'm like, oh, this is somebody's thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be my thing. I don't know. But
they had 2 animators for her. And we should mention this. Like, as the movie starts, there's these crazy, crazy credits. And they introduce every character, and every character seems to have their own animator.
there is definitely an emphasis on the artwork and who's making the artwork and who's animating this and who's doing the music. Like, you know, this is definitely a film made by craftsmen who are kind of saying, look at the craft.
But also the style just changes throughout the, like, you know, the early stuff feels like very 70s, like this kind of
it reminds
frumpy
me,
70s.
Almost PBS.
Yeah, but like the camel, I think was, I forget who the animator was, but he's like this kind of famous older animator, and that his animation style is like kind of classic Disney, like.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. All the animation styles are different for each character, and there's a different person kind of animating each character. And I think what that means is just like they're doing all the designs, and they're kind of saying how the character's going to move and stuff.
Art Babbitt.
Art Babbitt? Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting, and it kind of makes the film feel a bit more interesting than, honestly, a lot of films feel today where everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Things look different and characters look different from each other, but not in a way that feels like it's just clashing. Oh, you know, I didn't even bring up in the Land of the Loonies, like the weird sort of black and white, no sound, no dialogue section.
Yeah, and when they talk, like it's just horns and stuff.
I love that.
That was That was crazy.
It's
yeah.
short, but it's very strange. And again, it's just one of these things where there's so much freedom, I feel like, in this film to just do weird stuff like that just you wouldn't find 10 years later.
Yeah, it's like earlier, the camel's freaking out and you're like, man, he's crazy. And then by then you're like, oh, I'm crazy. We're all crazy.
It does remind me of your stories of taking LSD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Babette is just like, yeah, I don't necessarily need to be rescued. And Raggedy Ann's just like, no, you really don't, actually. But they end up being attacked by the loonies. King Cuckoo brings up this sea monster.
Yeah.
Oh God, what is his name? Like the Grudge or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
He's just like this big blob.
He's just this big green blob. And he's like, hey, blob, attack them so that I can have the last laugh of all. And that's where like the torture scene comes in. And this big sea monster is tickling people and whatnot. Raggedy Ann and Babette are hiding, and they're just like, man, we should never have left the playroom. This is really bad. The king is just laughing so hard he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally the pirate's parrot realizes, oh, I can just like puncture him. And as you say,
I've got a knife for a face. This was the part I was born to play, baby.
While Raggedy Andy and all the camel and all the rest are being tortured, the parrot goes and just punctures the king, and he explodes. The dolls all wake up in a pond outside of Marcella's house.
Yeah.
So
they didn't really get that far.
They didn't.
Maybe 13 feet.
And we cut to Marcella, who is outside and just like, why are you guys outside?
All right, so here's the scene. So she's out in the
Cute
yard.
little 7-year-old girl.
Cute little 7-year-old girl. There's a concrete pool.
Yeah.
Or it's like stone pool. There's like stone. She's got boots on. She just walks right into the middle of the pool and then picks up stuff outside of the pool.
Yeah. Dennis, you were a child. This is totally something
That
a
is
child
not what
do.
I would ever do.
Dennis, this is
No.
Dennis.
I followed the rules.
You are in your 50s and you would do this now. Dennis, come on.
Anyway, she should be walking around that pool.
You would not be walking around the pool. She picks up the dolls that she sees and recognizes and just like, oh, let me go take all my toys back into my house. Leaving outside the poor camel with the wrinkly knees.
Stuck in the leaves.
Because that's not one of her
It's a sad
toys.
shot, yeah.
It is very sad seeing the poor camel just like kind of, hidden by the leaves and just looking out to the sky like, come on, camels, kill me.
Yeah, he hallucinates yet again.
Yeah, it's very sad.
But
so
now instead of like the moon, like now he's looking at the window where they are.
That's true, yeah. And so we cut back to inside her bedroom, and the dolls are all like, hey, we're back from our adventure, and I'm so glad to be home, and this is great, and I don't really feel like going out again.
It's insanity out there.
Yeah.
Never leave the house.
You will be eaten by living candy, tortured by some bizarre orange king.
Always stay in your room.
And the camel with the wrinkly knees kind of follows his, hallucination up to the bedroom window, and they see him outside and like, hey, camel, hang out with us. It's very sweet.
And then Marcella comes in. Now they're all real again, and like Toy Story style. And she picks up the camel and then hugs him. And
she's just like, oh, I don't know what you are, but you're mine now.
He's huge, by the way.
He's pretty big.
He's like 2 feet long.
He's not.
Oh.
Maybe from like snout to tail, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. He's
and pretty clean for something that was just laying in the yard for probably 10 years.
And that's the movie, really. I mean, it's a pretty simple film.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're not going to destroy this one.
Nah, I think I'll let it live. It's not like I would need to do much since it's not available anywhere.
Oh my God, I know. I don't know what the legal issue is with this film, but for some reason it was produced, it was distributed by Fox. So it's not like it was like some obscure, house putting it out. But yeah, it has not been on, I don't think it's ever been on DVD. It was on VHS, I think the last time in like the early 90s, maybe like 91, 92 was the last time it was, issued. We watched this. I found it online, I think maybe on Internet Archive, and I was able to download it. I have a VHS of like a bootleg copy of a bootleg copy that my mom probably made in like 1984. So assuming that videotape's not going to play, I found this on Internet Archive and downloaded it.
And even this version looks like it had been laying out in the leaves.
Oh yeah,
for years.
This is a real grindhouse version. It is scratchy. It is dark. This
Though it is widescreen, which
it
kind
is
of surprised
widescreen.
me. I did not expect that for that time period.
I was so excited when I saw that it was widescreen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like when they made this, it was supposed to be like this big event, like a big deal of a movie. I have a feeling people didn't like it. Roger Ebert liked it. He thought it was great.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and I kind of get it, like they said, well, the story's kind of slow and basic. That second half, once you get into that second half of the film, it gets real weird.
Yeah.
But it's visually interesting, right? So, yeah, I mean, critics are kind of mixed on it. It's more of a cult movie now. You have to be of a certain age to even know what this movie is. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, this is not like a well-known film anymore. Unless you are probably in your 40s. So you never saw this, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
Dennis,
I still am not sure.
I'm pretty sure you would remember this movie. Think about what we just saw.
Yeah.
Think about, the camel hallucinating. Think about, King Cuckoo. Think about the greedy. The greedy, Dennis. Nobody forgets the greedy.
I'm just saying.
The greedy is disturbing.
Had I seen it, it would have been on TV like after 1977. So I'm like 8, 9 or something.
Look, I'm sorry. 8 or 9 is not too old for this movie.
But what I'm saying is that like around that time, like if I did see it, I would like see it as some kind of longing for like, my youth.
No, come on. Oh, I'm 8 years old. I'm so jaded as an 8-year-old. I can't watch
Exactly.
Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Hey, you don't understand
I'm so
the 70s,
over
man.
this. Get me a cocktail and a cigarette. I need to watch Cabaret.
I'm just saying that, like, as you outgrow things.
You don't outgrow Raggedy Ann and Andy when you're 7.
I'll tell you 8 or 9.
Oh, yeah. Real old man.
9 or 10,
9 or 10. Come on.
School sucks. I'm jaded.
Yeah.
So maybe I saw it because like the I feel like the forest scene seems
You would
familiar.
remember those creepy twins.
I don't think I would. I think I would have just blocked those out. I
Repressed
really
memory.
think that my brain is that nice to me. Like, no, we don't need this. No, let's just put this away.
So we've come to the end of Dennis versus the Movies month.
Yep.
What do you think of our selections?
Good. Like a little riskier than last year. Yet last year was all like we know all these are going to be great.
Yeah.
And this one, like the last two, I mean, like yeah, Muppets are great, but like this one, I was like, oh, I don't know. Mm-hmm. This has a chance to suck. And as it started, I'm like, oh, this is going to be really dated. Yikes. And I think had it come out in like 73, it would have been just dated.
Yeah.
Because they didn't care back then. And just like in 83 with kids' movies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like the Smurfs. The Smurfs cartoon is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Wait, the Smurfs and
Cartoon.
the Magic Flute?
No, this not Smurfs. I'm thinking Ewoks.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
the Ewoks.
sorry.
No, I was going to say the
Don't let me-
Smurfs and the
no,
Magic Flute
Smurfs
is
are
actually
great.
really cool. What are you talking? I don't know about
No,
cool, but
No, I
you mean the
but,
Ewoks?
but you know what I mean, because
The
like
Ewoks cartoon?
the Ewoks is
That-
basically
yeah,
the Smurfs.
That TV show sucks.
It's horrible.
Wait a minute. Again, I kind of feel like you're being mean to the Smurfs here.
I'm not meaning to be mean to the Smurfs, but I'm just saying that like as soon as the Smurfs were a hit,
Take back what you said about the Smurfs.
I retract any negative Smurfs comments. But it's like as soon as the
you
Smurfs
better.
were a hit, like they kept trying to remake it, and like they did the Smorks or whatever they are.
The Snorks.
Yeah.
The Smorks. The Snorks with an N.
But then they did like the Ewoks, and they made the Ewoks the exact
Yeah,
same
the
way.
Ewoks are terrible.
And it just doesn't work.
So that was Raggedy Ann and Andy, A Musical Adventure, starring Claire Williams, Dee Dee Conn, Mark Baker, Fred Stutham, Nikki Flex, George S. Irving, Arnold Stang. Oh, I forgot Arnold Stang is in this. Joe Silver, Alan Suze, Marty Brill, Paul Dooley. Yeah, I mean, these are all kind of like TV names. Oh, Paul Dooley. Actually, he's been on a lot of things.
One of them was the Heat Miser. Which one was that?
The Heat Miser is George S. Irving.
Yeah.
He did like the Rankin Bass type of stuff. Written by, originally Johnny Gruel, one of his books, and the screenplay was by Patricia Thackeray and Mark Wilk, and directed by Richard Williams, Abe Levitow, and Don Bluth, the great Don Bluth.
Yep.
All right. Again, if you can find this, and you want to have like a weird 90 minutes, seek it out. It's on Internet Archive.
It's worth finding.
Yeah, like if you want to see some unusual, animation, something that is not Disney-fied, something that does not look like anything else, something that looks very 1970s.
Yeah.
Go seek this out. It is a trip. So, all right. You can follow us on social media. We're Mary VS Movies on all of your major platforms. We are on TikTok and Instagram, where Reggie, our mascot, likes to, kind of promote our show. Sometimes Dennis does animations. It's always a good time. We are on, Blue Sky, Mastodon, all the rest of that stuff. We have a Facebook page even. We're on Tumblr. Anyway, we are on all of your major platforms. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review the show, and we'd appreciate it if you did. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify. We are on Overcast, and you can always get our RSS feed and put it into whatever your podcatcher of choice is. We have a Patreon where you can help support the show. For $3 a month, you help pay for all of what we do here, because it actually does cost money. We have like our Zoom account, when we have guests and stuff, we have to pay the server costs just for hosting the show. That all costs money. And so, we are not on a network. We don't have ads. This is all just kind of a labor of love from Dennis and me to you. So if you want to help pay for that, patreon.com/MaryVSMovies. Do not use the Apple app, because they will steal our money and your money, and that sucks. So instead, just go into the browser and, sign up that way. But if you do, patreon.com/MaryVSMovies, you get access to our whole other show, Hollywood Avalon, where we watch Arthurian movies. And that is everything from Bugs Bunny cartoons to The Fisher King to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade to King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, the Guy Ritchie film, which I kind of liked, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty much...
The Kid Who Would Be King.
The Kid Who Would Be King is great.
Excalibur, of course.
Oh, my God. Yes, we did Excalibur finally. And, man, that movie... It rocks even more than I remembered. It's the best. All kinds of stuff is on there. So, give us a listen. Hollywood Avalon. What else? I guess, we have the newsletter. We don't put that out as much as we would like to, because sometimes we're just feeling creatively challenged. Sometimes, like right now, work is very weird for us and we're not watching as many things. But, otherwise, the newsletter is where we talk about whatever the movie that we've watched is. We talk about movies that we are watching, TV shows, whatever. Sometimes Dennis draws comics. It's a good time. So if you would like our newsletter, you can sign up at the Patreon. But you can also just write to me and say, hey, I want to read what you're writing. And so that's maryvsmovies@gmail.com. You can always just write to us with any comments, questions, complaints, or suggestions. I would love to hear from you. I need to check my email more often. Discord, that's right. We have a Discord. If you sign up for the newsletter, you will find out the website for our Discord and how to join it. Because otherwise, I don't know. I'm not going to I'm not going to say a string of letters and numbers or something.
We just got a TV forum in that.
Yeah, we did. We just added a TV forum because everybody was talking about Severance.
Yeah.
and other people are like, will you stop talking about that in the general chat? Yeah. So we moved that to a TV section on our Discord. So, yeah, if you want to just talk about TV and movies and the latest episode and just life in general, join our Discord. And if you're a jerk, I will kick you off, because those are all nice people who are my friends on there, and I don't want people being mean to them. Yeah. So be nice. That's just kind of the rule in life. Be nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think that about does it. Yeah. And we have wrapped up Dennis versus the Movies month. The movies are victorious. Dennis is defeated.
Again.
Yep.
Next year, man.
Yeah.
Look out. The tables will turn.
So
I'll come back.
Yeah, sure you will. Next week. All right. I'm giving myself a gift because it's my birthday. So I've decided we're going to watch the Studio Ghibli film, Porco Rosso. I'm very excited for this.
I have a feeling this might have a different title.
What do you mean?
I feel like I've seen it like under a different title recently.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I know it is Porco Rosso.
I know.
I've never seen it.
I'm just saying that when we look for it, I have a feeling it may.
I thought you had this on DVD.
Well, I have a copy.
Yeah, you have a copy you ripped off of somebody else's box set.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Look, I'm sure we'll watch it on, I don't know if it's on Max or Disney or whatever, but yeah, Porco Rosso. I don't know what else it's called. I just know it's got a pig and he flies a plane, and that sounds pretty cool. And I've never seen it, so I'm kind of excited. So yeah, that's next week. So until next time.
I'm getting really sick and tired of all the dumb things going on around here.